Welcome to the Writers' Rendezvous from the South Dakota Humanities Council.
Hello, I'm Karl Gehrke of South Dakota Public Broadcasting. I'm here at the Dakota Mountain Grand for the 2013 South Dakota Festival of Books, and with me is Barbara Shapiro, the author of The Art Forger. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, you were just telling me that you've been to a lot of these festivals since this book has come out.
Yeah, it's been great. I've been all over the country.
What does this mean for a writer to be at a festival and to meet writers and to
It's
meet
great.
readers?
It's great. It's because we work in solitude pretty much, and so being able to meet readers, and especially if they like your book, then it's just pure. They grab you. I loved your book. I loved your book. It's like, who could not like that? And then there are a lot of other writers there, so we get to mingle and make friends, and share the ups and downs of this crazy profession.
Now, you mentioned readers. It's just, you're writing alone. It's not a participatory sport usually. So I imagine to meet those readers must be probably what makes this all worthwhile.
It does. It also helps you as an author to understand that even though it may feel like we're writing alone, we're not. We're writing, and the reader is then reading it, bringing themselves and their ideas and their lives and their passions to the book, that it really is a two-way street. It's not a one-way street, and that's cool.
And when you're writing, do you ever think of that?
Always.
Because I know that like you said, when I read a book, I am just as much, well, maybe just as much isn't the right word, but I'm in there. It's in my head. I'm reading it. I'm picturing the characters.
Yeah, well, I always picture my reader. I like to have the picture. I picture my reader as a man or woman, and they're in bed at 11:30 at night reading my book, and they have stuff to do in the morning, and my job is not to let them go to sleep. So I'm always thinking about that person who I'm trying to keep awake and turn in the pages. So it's the other side of the coin.
Now this book, the Art Forger, has a very interesting theme. I mean, it's a common one that Faustian bargain.
Yep.
That your character Claire Roth makes. That essentially she's a painter, but she becomes a forger for greater things to come.
She is a struggling artist and really struggling. And the largest gallery owner in town comes to her and says, if you'll forge a painting for me, I'll give you your own one-woman show, and that will catapult her career. But of course, she's making that deal with the devil, and whenever you make a deal with the devil, you get trouble. And so the first bit of trouble emerges when he brings the painting to her, and she realizes that it is a Degas painting that was stolen during the largest art heist in history. It was stolen from the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum. And then as she starts to forge it, she realizes that it too might be a forgery and gets herself into more trouble.
When you're writing The Art of Forger, did you have her in mind, the character of Claire Roth, or did you start with that art heist? Was there a germ of an idea and you went from there?
Originally the germ of the idea was Isabella Stewart Gardner herself, who was a really outstanding 19th century, eccentric, fabulous, wonderful woman. And then the heist that happened at her museum in 1990, they stole $500 million worth of art. It is the largest solved or unsolved, it's never been solved, art heist in history. So I wanted to write about that. And then Claire came in, she started running around in my brain, and then I got into art forgery, which is just fascinating. I read this one quote from the director of the Metropolitan Museum in New York, and he said, I know that 40% of the paintings in my museum are forgeries. I just don't know which ones they are. And I was like, wow, I'm going to write a book about this.
that is a wow. It's like 40%.
That's what he said.
So we go to these great museums, and that might not be the real thing.
They are pretty sure the Mona Lisa in the Louvre is not the real Mona Lisa. They don't know.
So there's the real Mona Lisa?
They don't know. There are a bunch of them. And they don't know whether Da Vinci painted them or people that were, in those days they had artists working for them, and they're not really sure.
For writing the art forger, as you mentioned, it's based on this famous art heist. As an author, was it fun to take something that really happened and then put it your own characters and come up with your own story?
Yeah, I love doing that. I love doing that. So Isabella Stewart Gardner is a real character, and obviously Edgar Degas is, and the heist is real. And so it's this interaction between what's real and what isn't real, and it's really fun. The new book that I'm working on now it has even more of it, because there are a number of very famous historical characters who are interacting all the time with my characters. So it's a fun puzzle.
Do you feel, though, because you're dealing with these real characters and real stories that actually happened, real events, that you have to be true to those stories and you can't fudge things too much, or is there a certain amount of...
Everybody that writes historical fiction has a different line where they are on that continuum. I'm pretty much on the continuum of don't let the truth get in the way of a good story. At the end of this book, and it will be in my new book also, there's a section that says this is true, this isn't true, this is made up, and so that's how I cover myself.
I was interested in reading the way that you write, or finding out that the way that you describe yourself as a coward because you have everything mapped out.
Yep. I have a lot of friends, and they sit down, they have the idea of a place, of a character, of an idea, a theme, and they just start writing, and I'm too scared to do that. I like to know that my story's got a beginning, a middle, and an end. I use multicolored file cards. I have all kinds of charts. Even for this book, I have a spreadsheet because I had all of these real people. So I have this big, gigantic spreadsheet of all these real people and where they were and what they were doing at each time. So I can march my fictional characters through their lives and where they are. And I need all of that to start, and then I start writing and it all changes, but it doesn't matter because at least I know there's one road through that's going to get me there, and if I choose a different one, that's fine. I just can't start without knowing that there's an end. But
almost sounds like that maze for kids.
Yeah,
you can't go that way, but you'll get there.
Or they put rats in. Yeah. But it's fun. I like it. I have a math background, and so people laugh at me, and they're like, "What is this? You got this normal curve chart? What are these things on it?" It's like the normal curve chart to write a novel.
But what this demonstrates is there is no one way to write.
And there's no one way to write, and there's no every book demands a different kind of style and a different kind of writing. So it's not just that every individual writer writes differently, but each book that they write differently.
So what is it about your writing and the books that you're writing that serves this method of having everything outlined?
I consider myself a storyteller, and for me, story is what a novel is. It's the most important thing. And I like having multiple stories that are braided together, and so it's not the same as if you're taking one character and carrying them all through a single story. So this way, I have multicolored file cards, so each color is a different character whose story is going through in different times and different places. And so that's one of the reasons I sort of have to do it.
It's a different way of solving that puzzle you were talking about.
Right.
Well, Barbara, thanks so much for taking the time to talk with us.
Thank you. This is great. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Writers Rendezvous is a production of SDPB.